Hello, shining stars. You're not going to believe what I found on my front porch today. It was the craziest thing. I came out, let me see if I can show it to you. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but look at this. I'm on my front porch, and look what happened to my front porch. It says Joel and Beckett, and let's see, can we see everybody? Anderson. Somebody came and put all these names on my porch. Do you see your name? Let's see who's over here on this side. I see Wesley and Wyatt and Owen together again. Look at that. Isn't that the craziest thing you ever saw? And down there, look what it is. It is the tale of Despero. Let's see where we are in our story, okay, guys? I think we're on chapter 40, and it's called Forgiveness. Do you know what forgiveness means? All right. So the last time we were reading, Despero was going to go see if he could find the king because somebody was missing. Do you remember who was missing? That's right, the Princess P and Migrisao. So let's see what happens in the chapter called Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a really good thing. He went first to the throne room. That's a good place to look for a king. But the king was not there. And so Despero slipped through a hole in the molding, and he was making his way to the princess's room when he came upon the Mouse Council. They're like the bosses who decide what's going to happen. 13 mice and one most very honored head mouse. They were sitting around their piece of wood debating important mouse matters. Despero stopped and stood very still. "Fellow honored mice," said the most very honored head mouse, and then he looked up from the makeshift table and saw Despero. "Despero?" he whispered. The other mice of the council leaned forward, straining to make some sense of the word that the head mouse had just uttered. "Pardon?" said one. "Excuse me," said another. "I didn't hear right," said a third. "I thought you said Despero." The head mouse gathered himself. He tried speaking again. "Fellow members," he said, a ghost, a ghost!" And he raised a shaking paw and pointed it at Despero. The other mice turned and looked, and there was Despero Tilling, covered in flour, looking back at them, the telltale red thread still tied around his neck like a thin trail of blood. "Despero!" said Lester. Do you remember who Lester is? "Son, you've come back." That's right, Lester's his dad. Despero looked at his father, and he saw an old mouse whose fur was shot through with gray. How could that be? Despero had been gone only a few days, but his father seemed to have aged many years in his absence. "Son, ghost of my son," said Lester, his whiskers trembling. "I dream about you every night. I dream about beating that drum, the drum that sent you to your death. I was wrong, son. What I did was wrong." "No," said the most very honored head mouse. "No." "I've destroyed it," said Lester. "I've destroyed the drum. Will you forgive me, son?" He clasped his front paws together and looked at his son. "No!" shouted the head mouse again. "Do not ask that ghost to forgive you, Lester. You did as you should. You did what was best for the mouse community." Lester ignored the head mouse. "Son, please," he said. Despero looked at his father, at his gray-streaked fur and trembling whiskers, and his front paws clasped together in front of his heart, and he felt suddenly as if his own heart would break in two. His father looked so small, so sad. "Forgive me," Lester said again. Forgiveness, reader, is, I think, something very much like hope and love, a powerful, wonderful thing, and a ridiculous thing, too. And there's a picture. You can see Despero. He's the little guy, and he's got that thread around his neck, and then the bigger one of them must be his dad. Uh-oh, there's my phone. Hold on. And another one must be that head mouse guy. I don't like him very much. My phone is not... Okay, good. Let's go to the next page. Okay. Isn't it ridiculous, after all, to think that a son could forgive his father for beating the drum that sent him to his death? Isn't it ridiculous to think that a mouse could ever forgive anyone for such perfidy? But still, here are the words Desborough Tilling spoke to his father. Do you think he's going to forgive him? He said, "I forgive you, Pa." And he said those words because he sensed that it was the only way to save his own heart, to stop it from breaking in two. Desborough, reader, spoke those words to save himself. And then he turned from his father, and he spoke to the whole Mouse Council. "You were wrong," he said, "all of you. You asked me to renounce my sins. I ask you to renounce yours. You wronged me. Repent." That kind of means say you're sorry and feel sorry about it. "Never," said the head mouse. Desborough stood before the Mouse Council, and he realized that he was a different mouse than he had been the last time he faced them. He had been to the dungeon and back up out of it. He knew things that they would never know. What they thought of him, he realized, didn't matter at all. And so, without saying another word, Desborough turned and left the room. After he was gone, the head mouse slapped his trembling paw on the table. "Mice of the council," he said, "we have been paid a visit by a ghost who had told us to repent. We will now take a vote. All in favor of saying that this visit did not occur, vote aye." Well, of course it occurred. It just happened. And from the members of the Mouse Council, there came a tiny but emphatic chorus of aye. That means yes. And from the members of the council, everyone just looked at each other and didn't know what to think. Only one mouse said nothing. That mouse was Desborough's father, Lester Tilling. He had turned his head away from the others of the Mouse Council. He was trying to hide his tears. He was crying, reader, because he had been forgiven. That's kind of nice. All right, come back next time. We'll see what happens next. Bye, shining stars. Love you. Hey, take one last look at this crazy portrait. I just don't know who did this. Look at that. Desiree, you're there too. I was sitting right in front of Desiree. So crazy. All right, you guys. See ya. Bye.